Hey, beautiful. Welcome back once again to the Tamia Dawkins Show. If you've never seen my face before or heard my voice before, I would love to invite you to go ahead and follow me on one of my platforms where I will be teaching you how to go ahead and build a life and a successful online business that I know that you'll absolutely love. Why? Because of the fact that you built it. Who wouldn't love that? And so in today's show, we're really going to be focusing on an amazing topic, might I add. I'm going to be teaching you how to not self-sabotage as a lady entrepreneur. Now, y'all know it is absolutely real out here in these streets. There are startups all over the place. People, I feel like, are in this mode of really following the trends of entrepreneurship. I've never seen it so, or let's say the industry so massively saturated the way that it is. And listen, this is not a bad thing. Why? Because of the fact that our country, the United States of America, is really built on the backs of small businesses. And so obviously, because of the fact that we are in quarantine and we're dealing with the coronavirus, now is the greatest time to go ahead and do your startup or start your online business, especially if you've been procrastinating and not doing it even up until this point. So I really want to give you that push, that nudge to let you know that now is definitely a great time to start. Definitely stop second guessing yourself. Just make it happen. So when it comes to self-sabotaging, why do we do this as entrepreneurs? I think that this mainly happens, I find, and even in my own experiences, because of the fact that we do not go into entrepreneurship realizing that there has to be a major mindset shift in terms of the fact that you have to let yourself know that you are going to consistently show up for the race. This whole lady entrepreneurship journey is totally not a sprint, but it is definitely a marathon run. So if you can come into this experience realizing that things are not going to bloom overnight, or there is really going to take time, it is going to take time for you to go ahead and build your audience and your presence and your expertise, then you totally can consistently show up. And so I believe that a lot of people that feel like, I see other people doing this, or, I feel like I can, but they're not 100% set in their mindset to make sure that they can stand on their own 2 feet or consistently run the race of entrepreneurship. This is why they definitely self-sabotage. Now, I know sometimes there may be in entrepreneurship, there will be, should I say, in entrepreneurship, different times that you have to set up different systematic things to be able to help you consistently move forward in building your business. And I think that a lot of ladypreneurs really get very discouraged when they put these systems into place and they do not see the results right away. I think there's a stat that says within the first 120 days, most entrepreneurs give up. There is nothing that will literally grow in terms of your business that fast. Now, don't get me wrong. There are a couple of one-hit wonders that really have had the opportunity to really scale over a short amount of time, but that is not usually the, let's say, base for a lot of quote unquote regular people. More than likely, if you're doing a startup, it'll take some time for you to get your idea together. It'll take some time for you to try to figure out your marketing plan. Like, there is a whole process when you're really serious about entrepreneurship that has to take place so that you can develop, and even through your developmental process of really getting the things down packed that you want to get down packed in terms of your journey of entrepreneurship, there is still this whole consistent change, let's say, process that will happen. So nothing is ever solid. You might have one particular branding expectation for your business when you first go into it, and then maybe there'll be some other people in your industry that intrigue you with what they're doing, and then you'll decide to create something for your own self. So it's just always just this consistent process of becoming over and over and over and over again in entrepreneurship. And so I think for people that are not willing to stick to the journey, it might sound overwhelming, but if you are the type of person that's saying, I started this journey, I made the investment, I've spent some money, I've spent time and effort in making sure that I can make my business exactly what I want it to be, then those things don't scare you, right? They might be a little intimidating, but you're like, okay, how can I get from that point A to that point Z to really see the success that I know that I'm absolutely craving for? Now, here are a few reasons why we will self sabotage as entrepreneurs. Are you ready? Here we go. One, I think that entrepreneurs definitely, I touched on this a little bit, we are expecting to get fast results. And nothing happens super set fast in entrepreneurship. Everything is a journey and a process. And really, anything that you can create overnight in terms of success, I don't think that your mind really will teach you how to appreciate the things that you've acquired from kind of like that fast success. But when you have to work for a thing, you really learn how to care for it. And so I find that in entrepreneurship, if you're looking for fast results, then you are going to self sabotage because you expect for things to happen overnight on the basis of your competition. So if it's happening for her, then it should happen for me just that fast. But when you really go back and look into the process of entrepreneurs that are successful, you find that they have like a 10 and 15-year journey that you know nothing of. And so I think it's just important for us to make sure that we stay focused on our own paths of becoming successful entrepreneurs. And when you get that tunnel vision, then you'll find that you're so excited and so focused on getting the different things that you need to get done within your own personal business that you really don't have time to be paying attention to what other people are doing. And then you won't have an expectation of having super fast results. And so it's super important just to realize that if you have this mentality that says that I'm in this to win this, then you will definitely be successful. Another reason why people totally give up in the process of becoming a successful entrepreneur in their own right is because of the fact that they really stop believing in themselves. Where have you stopped believing in yourself on your journey of lady entrepreneurship? And I really think that comes from looking over the fence, trying to figure out what someone else is doing on their own journey. And when you realize that you are an individual person that's building a brand, that's building your company, you cannot play the comparison game. You cannot do it. You cannot get caught up in not believing in who it is that you are or the idea that you have or whatever it is that you created in terms of a service and a product on the basis of what you see other people doing. And I know that women in particular really struggle with shifting their mindset towards believing in themselves and believing in the idea that they have for their particular company. And so what happens a lot of times is entrepreneurs, they get stuck in the past. Now you go from I don't believe in myself or I can't do this towards really focusing on maybe different areas within your journey that you have quote unquote failed at. There is no failure if you decide to keep moving or you decide to dust yourself off and try to figure out another way around the mountain, quote unquote. If you are continuing on your path and journey entrepreneurship and you have decided not to give up, then there is no failure. You only fail when you stop. When you decide to say, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and close up shop, then that's when that can be counted as a failure. But if you continue to consistently move forward and not get stuck in the past on past quote unquote failures, then you'll find that your quote unquote failures will become stepping stones towards the different successes that you want to have as the bomb lady entrepreneur. What we also tend to do in terms of self-sabotaging is really dwelling on past mistakes. I kind of touched on that with regards to getting stuck. I wasn't able to do this or this didn't work out. And so mentally, you just get to this place where you're stuck. You're looking at everything on your journey that's going wrong, everything that's not working out. And you don't realize that in your process of building your company, you have really learned so much. You have really taken on so much. And even the people around you can see that you're making progress. But I believe that when we don't believe in ourselves and we start that spiral down of self-sabotage as entrepreneurs, we don't have the ability to be able to see ourselves even the way that people do with regards to like people that totally admire you. We can't see ourselves from that place. So it's super important for you to make sure that you don't get in this funk, of seeing what didn't work out. What can you positively focus on? and really get in this place where you begin to count your wins and celebrate yourself. I talk a lot about celebrating our wins as entrepreneurs. I know that my coach, when I was training to become a life and a health coach, I oftentimes tell this story that this lady had to count all of the blessings that she saw in my life because I was really stuck, you know? And it's not that I wasn't grateful, but I just did not have the ability to see in that moment everything that was going good. And so she said to Mia, you need to stop. And in this moment, begin to celebrate your wins. Like, you're moving so fast that you're not counting your victories. And I really want to encourage you in this moment to just stop. Count your blessings and count your wins. And you'll notice that you're making way more progress than maybe you feel like on your journey. Another thing that we tend to do is really have a fear of the future. You know, as humans, if we don't know exactly what's next, it's like, I can't go ahead and walk through that door. But that's the worst thing that you could possibly do, because there is a huge possibility that, hey, you've been building up so much in your company, you've been building up so much as an entrepreneur, that the blessing is on the other side of the door. And if you stop here, then you'll never get to that other place in terms of the future of the success that you absolutely know that you've been building up until this point. So don't be fearful about the future. Yeah, there are certain things that we don't necessarily know, or certain things that we don't necessarily have the insight about, but really look at your journey as an opportunity to be consistently excited about the upcoming future on the basis of the seeds that you are sowing as an entrepreneur right here in this moment. And so if I'm sowing right here in this moment, then I automatically have an expectation for the great things that are going to come up in the harvest of what it is that I believe that I sowed in this season of me grinding and doing exactly what I need to do as an upcoming entrepreneur. Now, on top of all of that, we tend to really resist change. What are the areas in your life where you have been resisting to shift in, right? And so if you look at resisting change in your different areas of your life in terms of entrepreneurship, then you'll definitely find that more than likely you're probably a procrastinator. And sometimes when you are a procrastinator, then that's connected to you being a perfectionist. And if you're a perfectionist, then that means that more than likely you're not getting different things done because you're not moving forward on your journey. So embrace the change, embrace the different things that maybe you don't have all the information about, and count it as a new learning experience. Now, something that you can go ahead and say, hey, I went through that. And now, because of the fact that I really just decided to move forward and kind of embrace the change rather than resisting the different things that I don't know, now I can be named as a person that has insight in that particular area, right? And aside from that, I think that we can sometimes, those of us that self-sabotage, can have this mentality that says the world owes us something. Now, I know that this might be a generational thing, but I can say this, I know from my generation, I think that we see so much success around us that we feel like, hey, the world owes me something, you know, like I should just be successful. And you can't have that mentality. You will totally give up if certain things are not handed to you in terms of opportunities. And listen, you have to work for everything that you have. You cannot have the mindset that says that I'm owed, you know, this level of success or this opportunity on the basis of the fact that I showed up a couple of times. No, you cannot do that. I remember years ago feeling totally depressed about something that I thought that I should be doing. It wasn't necessarily centered around entrepreneurship, but I felt like, hey, you know, I kind of been in the game for a little while, and I saw, of course, some other people doing it, and I'm like, hey, I should be able to be where that person is, obviously in my own place, but, you know, kind of neck and neck. And when I really sat down and thought about that thing, I said, how dare you, Tamia? How dare you sit here and believe that you should be neck and neck with that person that started 20 years before you? So you're seeing a person sit in the harvest of their success after working 20 years before you even started. And so in that moment, obviously, I felt this big, but at the same time, I felt excited about the fact that I had taught myself in that moment to be grateful for where I was and not feel like the world owed me, success. No, you have to work for that success and own your journey and your path, and know that once you get to that place of achieving that, end goal of that layer of success that you're looking for, then you can go ahead and celebrate and not have this chip on your shoulder to say that someone owes me anything. And last but not least, we find that we self-sabotage as entrepreneurs by really fearing failure more than desiring success. I said to my husband the other day, I really want to begin to focus on all of the people in my life that have been a contribution to me growing and becoming, and really just, helping me to grow as a woman in several different areas in my life. Because I think sometimes we can just focus on the failures, or let's say the broken relationships, or just different things that just did not work out for us so much that those failures become our focus more than the successful things that we have in life, whether they're relationships or in this case, obviously entrepreneurship. Like, shift your mindset to focus on the things that absolutely matter. And what I find is that there's more of a level of gratitude. And truth be told, anything that you focus on from a psychological perspective is going to be what's right in front of you. So if I say that I'm going to focus on failure because I want to be more pessimistic and nothing is working out and my mind keeps telling me this is not going to work, then that's what you are going to see. That is going to be the tree that springs up before you. But if you have this mentality that says, you know what, I'm going to focus on my desired success, I'm going to go ahead and celebrate my wins, then what you'll find is that that will be your focus. Most small businesses take about, are you ready for this? 2 to 3 years to even become profitable. So if you've been in this entrepreneurship game for a good 6 months to a year, just wait a second. It's going to take some time to really get the momentum that it needs to be able to grow. So don't give up. I think I gave you the stat that talked about most entrepreneurs give up within the first 120 days. And if you've gone past that quote unquote stat, that is very valid in that obviously they've done a study to show just a process in the journey of entrepreneurs, and you ought to celebrate. That'll be an opportunity to celebrate one of your wins. And so what happens is that once you gain the momentum within entrepreneurship, the stats really talk about how success really begins to bloom around your 7th and 10th year. And I think that that happens because of the fact that by that point in your entrepreneurship, like, you know who you are, you know why you're showing up, people know why you're showing up, and you have this audience that is following you along your journey of entrepreneurship that knows that you are going to consistently show up. And that's when people really, really, really have this mind to trust you on your journey of entrepreneurship. Now, obviously, this is not the end all be all. There are people that scale at a quicker rate based upon the momentum that they can, really, really spring forth with. And so I think that it's just a really great place to kind of, put a marker to say, okay, well, if I'm in the 5th year of my business, and I'm still only making $10,000 a month, or I'm still only making $7,000 a month, or I'm only making $2,000 a month, at least I know that I'm just in this process that is going to get better as I grow and I learn more and I put more systematic things into place to help me to be able to grow at a quicker and better rate. And so what I want you to do, because I always love to leave you all with mindset shifting action steps, or literally different kind of implementation steps that will help you to really shift your habits towards entrepreneurship so that you do not self-sabotage. I want you to begin to name a few areas in your life in particular where you know that you have had a bit more strength to keep going and not just stop, right? You probably thought I was going to say, look at different areas in your life that you have completely self-sabotaged. No, but you want to look at different areas in your life that you have had a consistent momentum, right? A few areas in your life where you know that you have had strength. And I think that this principle of focusing on the areas where you have strength will really help you to make sure that you're working on the things that you already have a momentum in. Sometimes we're like, oh my goodness, if I continue to put my energy towards this thing, then I'm really going to be sucked dry. But when you continue to put your energy towards something that you're already good at, then more than likely you'll really enjoy the process. Now, Serena Williams, she is an amazing entrepreneur, mom, wife, everything, athlete, you name it, she's totally done it. And one thing that I love, which is why I'm bringing her up, is that she just has this endless momentum, right? Ever since she was a young girl, we've watched her in her process of becoming great at what she does, and now in several areas of her life. And so she says that she spends up to 3 hours a day practicing on the tennis court, right? Plus another 2 hours in the gym in order to keep up with her schedule. And so, what she aims for on a day to day basis, aside from working out in the gym and playing on the tennis court, is to make sure that in between that, she gets 8 hours of sleep a night. And by her being able to do this, it helps her obviously to have that momentum to consistently bounce back from all of the hard work that she's doing. And so I just love her story. I love her drive. I love her momentum. And I wanted to connect this to you not self-sabotaging so that you understand that people like Serena Williams, she's able to get the results that she's able to get. She's able to win the way that she's able to win because of the fact that she has this nonstop mentality. And she also has a massive amount of discipline and structure in her life. And so really count towards maybe examining whether or not you've been self-sabotaging in different areas of your life because of the fact that you don't have discipline and structure. And if you can get that together, then more than likely you'll begin to gain the needed momentum to consistently move forward. And so I don't want you to focus on the things, like I said, that are not working in your life. Focus on the things that you're already strong in and continue to do that over and over and over again till you get even better. And then you can consistently build on that. Sometimes we can get so sucked into our end goal, our end result. I need to get over there. And then we miss the joy of the process of coming through entrepreneurship. And that goes back to you counting, whatever your wins are, or really focusing on the things that are working for you within your business. And so if you can train, when we look at this example of Serena Williams, listen, the girl trains. If you can train yourself, mind, body, and soul to stay focused, then you can absolutely win. And so you need to make sure that you are shifting your mindset. You need to make sure that you're even focusing on your diet. Like a lot of people in entrepreneurship don't realize this body that I have is a vehicle that's going to help me to consistently move forward. Ask yourself, do I need a coach or a mentor, somebody that can consistently help me to move forward on my journey of wanting to win in entrepreneurship? Do you need different motivational factors, different things that will help you to say, for instance, like, okay, let's say that you have children. Your children can be your motivational factor to keep you moving forward. So, for instance, I know for me, I have an alert that'll come up on my phone every morning to remind me why I'm doing what I'm doing every single morning. And to see that as a motivational factor, as a reminder that consistently comes up, my brain is like, okay, this is why I'm going to show up today. This is why I'm doing all these things, every single day. So just try to see if you can put a motivational factor in place that will help you to consistently keep that momentum of moving forward and not giving up. One thing that I want to leave you with that I think is so powerful that I heard one time is that it's important that you rest, but you never give up. So if you are on this journey of entrepreneurship and you're feeling weary, you're like, Tamia, I cannot do this, it's a lot, rest. Just go ahead and survey where you stand. What is making me weary in my well-doing? What is not allowing for me to move forward? Once you can identify those areas that you are self-sabotaging in, then you can go ahead and put together a different plan and absolutely win. And so once again, I'm super excited that you beautiful lady entrepreneurs have joined me for another episode of the Tamia Dawkins Show. Make sure that you subscribe to the podcast. Make sure that you follow me on social media on my different platforms. Join the Lady Entrepreneurship Club that you want to be a part of called Dominant Entrepreneurship Society. And I will make sure that I catch you ladies here at a time soon. If you have any questions, make sure that you put them in the description down below or either in the comments up above. I'll catch you here soon. Ciao.